Hey, I'm here with my lovely co-host, Glenn Boddice, all the way from England. And you're listening to the ParaMystic podcast. I don't know why I wasn't ready when the camera came on. Ah. How you doing, Glenn?
I'm really well, thank you. And you know what? Here in the UK, we've experienced a few days of sunshine. And you know what? It's been just the tonic for everybody. I've actually had my legs out
No
in
way.
shorts for the first time this year, and it's quite refreshing. I've even invested in some sunglasses. That's how confident I am that we're going to have some more days of sunshine in the UK. But to answer your question, I'm doing really, really well, thank you. Keep
Good.
soldiering on, but I'm happy and I know it, and I'm clapping my hands.
Yay.
How are you?
I am doing really, really well. I've been, I was on a little adventure recently and did some Herkimer diamond mining and got to experience a really cool um, haunted location. It wasn't exactly an investigation, but it
Okay.
is a place that's for sale. And the realtor just opened it up one day and said, anybody who wants to walk through can. And I'm like,
Of course, you was up first at the queue, weren't you?
I was actually there before he was. Yeah.
So how did that go for you? Did you pick
Yeah.
anything up? Was it
Oh, yeah.
haunted or was it just a marketing ploy?
No, it's that they're not even marketing it as haunted.
Oh, okay.
It's just a property that's for sale, but I got a feeling about it. And when I saw that there was an open house, I went, cool, I'm going to go check it out. So yeah, that was pretty awesome. Yeah, definitely haunted.
Wow.
It used to be a tuberculosis hospital.
Oh,
So
that's going to have some energies there,
yeah.
definitely.
And then after that, it was a Bible college. So more interesting energies.
That's a contrast in itself, isn't it? Wow.
Yeah, the energies are pretty incredible. It's
I bet.
yeah, yeah.
I bet
So,
you had your guides on hand to
oh
help
yeah,
you decipher what you was picking up because it must have been quite something.
it was a very interesting day. Like we were there like a whole day, and he was just wandering. The realtor was just wandering around answering questions for whoever might wanted to wander through. So yeah, it was fun.
Wow,
Yeah,
incredible. Love the sound of that. That's a show in itself, I'm sure.
it sure could be. Yes.
Yes, I thought so. That's why I didn't divulge or dig it any further than what I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, that one can be a show all by itself. And actually a member
Yeah.
of my paranormal team, 2 members of my paranormal team went with me. So,
Cool.
yeah, so it was fun. It was an unofficial investigation, so it was
Aren't
fun.
they the best, though?
It
Aren't they the best, I think, when there's no members of the public there? It's rolling your sleeves up time, down and dirty, get stuck in.
it
Um,
is.
they're
It is.
great. I love those.
Yeah, so what have you been up to lately? You've got a lot of band.
Me, yes, I have. Yeah, at the moment, well, it's been full on working 6 days a week, morning, afternoon, and night. As I jokingly call, I have a muggle job as well,
Mhm.
which helps to pay the bills and feed this little thing down here called my stomach.
Yeah.
But also, I teach like yourself, do readings and all of that alongside of that. And quite rightly, as you pointed out, I do perform in a band and I drum and I sing. So, yeah, every weekend we're out. Uh, Other than next weekend, we're having a weekend off. But yeah, we play some amazing places, mainly sort of social clubs, working clubs, not so much public house as pubs. We do a few outdoor events.
Mhm.
And it's nice. What I enjoy about it is, and I'm sure you get this when you go to certain events, you turn up at the venue and you can feel that really sort of heavy energy in the
Mhm.
atmosphere. And you think, okay, here we go. Wonder how tonight's going to go. And you're taking all your equipment in, setting up, sound checking. There's a few people that come in and wrongly judge a book by its cover and you think, oh, we're going to have one of those nights tonight. Look who's coming in. And in actual fact, we shouldn't, because we've had some tremendous nights. And what I like about it the most is that transformation of that energy, bringing people out of their shells, letting them have a great evening, getting them up, dancing and singing, and just embracing that energy. And of course, they have a great time. And it's a two-way system. Us as entertainers, performers, we have a great time because it makes our night and our work a lot more easier when there's that sort of interaction. So I've been enjoying that, and we've mainly played, I would say, around Yorkshire and Nottinghamshire. We like to keep it relatively local, just so it doesn't really encroach into our purse or wallets, if you know what I mean, with the transportation costs. So we're quite, we keep it, respectfully as local as we can, but we're enjoying ourselves. Yeah, it's been great.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. Yeah. I know you post on your social medias every time you're setting up your drum kit. It's like,
The thing is, there's a reason, and I know the photos always look very similar, but
I love it, though.
you know, it's just to let people know where I'm at, instead of making about 25 text messages, or I just put it up on there, job done in one hit.
There you go. There you go.
Plus plus it reminds me where I've been, because once I've done a job, it's like, okay, next, and I've forgotten about it, and so it just gives me that reminder. I was actually there on that day.
I love it. I love it. That's so cool. So you and I have both, in the last year or so, man, it's been almost a year since we were together in England.
I know. Oh, I miss it. It was.
Me too.
I'm still reminiscing on it now. It was phenomenal.
It was. It was. But since then, you and I have both had some tough times. We've gone through some stuff. Well, like crazy stuff. So I was thinking a great topic for this show would be the only way to it is through it. Like, because we've had to walk through some stuff, both of us, individually and as friends, walk through some stuff. So, it's, let's jump into that. Let's talk about that. Like, in what aspects of life have you been having to walk through it to get to a better place, to get to a more peaceful place?
Okay, well, for me, the ultimate one, and I probably mentioned this before, it's been one of the greatest lessons I think I've ever had. And that was going through a divorce, a separation, and having to be a single parent raising my two daughters, whilst also navigating around the emotions, the turmoil, the frustration, the anger, and, the big question marks. Where's life taking me from now on in? And like the heading of today's show has suggested, I certainly had to dig in deep to get through that. There was no way around it. There was no excuses. There was no distractions. I had to roll my sleeves up and get stuck in. I did have to make some very strong sacrifices. The first one being is, as you know, I'm a medium. I'm a musician, a music producer. All that had to stop. And for 4 years, did none of that. And I had the equipment, boxed up, couldn't even look at it, because I knew that if I looked at it, I would have an anchoring to want to start doing it, when I knew I couldn't do it, because my priority was on my two children at the time. So I had to go through that process in order to find who I am as a person. Rather than, like I say, making excuses. I haven't got time. I've got this to do. Let's watch that TV program. There was none of that. I had to go through it. And it was an amazing time, really, because I discovered who I truly am, not what people want me to be. And I think that was the massive catalyst, and also appreciating myself for who I am, and showing that love that perhaps I hadn't given myself for many, many years. So it was the ultimate test in my life, but there have been many more since then. But that is the ultimate catalyst to get me to this stage where I'm talking and teaching and communicating with others. If it hadn't been for that, none of this would have come to the forefront of my life. So,
Right.
yeah, I would say that's been my utmost catalyst.
That has
What
been
about
the
yourself?
I think I don't know what I signed up for here. I kind of do, but it seems like all of my major stuff comes through health issues. Major,
Oh,
major,
okay.
major health issues. And so recently that's what I've been going through is a health issue. And I'm getting the balance figured out where I have energy again. I feel like myself more again. I feel like I'm like, oh my God, I can get up and do things. I'm not just sitting in a lump on the couch going, God, I wish I had energy to get up and do something. Now I actually do have it again. But I've had to walk through that process, and I'm still walking through that process of finding out what works and physically taking care of my body in ways that I never would have imagined that I would have to. So that's been a really big thing of getting me to through it and to it, and also having to reevaluate what it is I'm doing here on this planet. What is my purpose? Is it the same purpose I had a year ago? Is it a new purpose? Is it the same purpose in a different way? So there's been a lot of that evaluation going on, and I'm still doing that as well. Evaluating how to navigate only being able to work part-time as opposed to working like you do, which I did for years and years and years on end. So it's been a lifestyle change, and walking through that and giving myself grace, I think, has been the hardest thing for me. I'm not real good at giving myself grace. I tend to have very high expectations of myself. So giving myself grace to be able to go, okay, I'm doing everything I can do, but taking care of me is top priority. And after decades of making other people, kids, and other people top priority, I'm having to do that for myself. And boy, that is a journey for me, having to put myself first. That is not something that I was accustomed to doing, even like I said, a year ago. So yeah, that's been a real thing to realize how intertwined everything is, right? So when you're taking care of your physical body and your finances and your emotions and your mental health and everything all at the same time, everything is intertwined. Yeah, it's not just
Juggling act.
it is, but
Yeah,
you realize those balls are tied together with strings, right? They're not just
yeah,
separate things. Everything is all tied together. So
yeah.
taking care of mental health and physical health and emotional and spiritual health, and still trying to figure out how to pay the bills while doing it. That's a lot. And we're all going through it. So going through it to get to a place where life is easier. I don't know if easier is even the right words, more peaceful,
Manageable.
manageable. Manageable is a better word. Yeah. Yeah. And some days it is, and some days it isn't. And I think that's true for every adult I've ever talked to.
Well, it's absolutely amazing to hear that you are coming through the situation and you are feeling a lot better. And
Right.
also that you're giving all of that love that you give out to the world, and you have done for many, many years. It's nice to hear that you're not forgetting about yourself anymore.
Yeah.
And it's not a selfish act, it's a very much needed act of giving yourself that love and upliftment. And, I think I mentioned it last time we spoke. You had a glow about you, you had an aura about you. And so that's obviously having its effect on you, with you operating on that level and making those decisions. Like you say, everything is tied together. It's a balancing act, isn't it? When you take or give more energy to one project or situation, it takes it away from something else. So trying to get that balancing act right, but obviously having yourself is a priority, because you're the main factor that links all those things together. So
Right.
it's nice to hear that you're doing that.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's nice to see that you are starting to relax into your life too, because you've been pretty for a long time, and now you're relaxing into your
Yeah,
life, and it's just so much
thank you.
easier. It's so much easier when we can relax into it.
I think, you know, it's took me all these years to get to this point because I'm very similar to yourself, as we both know.
Right.
We're strivers, you know, we're perfectionists and we're always pushing forward. And when every avenue that you pursue forward is bringing you back to the start position,
Mhm.
you know, you've got to assess life and say, well, hang on a minute, there's a lesson in this. Maybe I'm cluttering my life up with too much things. I need to create space so that the universe can work for me and with me rather than me, forgive my language, but half killing myself trying to get somewhere fast.
Right.
So yeah, it has been an interesting journey so far.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as the Carpenters once said, it's only just begun.
There you go. And in tune, that was beautiful.
Well, I try.
You know, and the thing is, like you said, you start on a path and it just brings you back. You just keep trying to follow old paths and they just keep
Mm,
bringing you back. That's when we realize there's no shortcut. There's no
exactly.
shortcut.
Yeah.
The old ways are not working. The way we used to do it isn't working, so we better find something else. And then, of course, me being, you know, the go-getter that I am, I'm like, well, let's go find it. Let's get on with it, you know? And
But look how much energy that has taken for you to do that right here,
yeah,
right now. Let's get on with it. You don't realize it though, do you? That it
no,
takes so much energy out of you.
it really does. So when we're creating a better life, a new way, it really comes down to self-discipline, you know? For me, it has. For me, it has, which kind of sounds like it's the opposite of what I've been saying, but it's the self-discipline to sit. It's the self-discipline to
Oh,
meditate. It's the self-discipline to do the yoga and the balancing exercises so I
mm,
don't lose the abilities that the physical abilities that I have. It's the self-discipline to make myself get out and walk every day. And if the weather's bad, to walk
mm,
indoors somewhere. You know,
mm.
we have what we call big box stores. They're
Okay.
warehouses, basically. So I can go to any one of those and just walk around and get my steps in. You know, there's really no excuse.
Bit of retail therapy as well, you know, multitasking.
Oh God, I have to stay
Like
away
it.
from the retail. I don't even like retail therapy. I'm trying to get rid of stuff. I have too much stuff. And then of course, if I go to retail therapy, then it's snacks and I don't need those either. So
Sometimes you have to treat yourself for the greater
sometimes
good.
and sometimes I do, but it really has come down for me to be disciplined to make myself take care of me and not allow myself to get distracted, like you were talking earlier. You know, we
Mm,
could sit down and watch this stupid TV show, or I could, you know, meditate. I could do something good for myself. Lately been into oil pastels and creating designs, and I think I sent you a picture of one that I did earlier
I
today.
saw it earlier,
Yeah.
yeah, and I love the use of colours that you
Yeah.
used in that artwork. Very healing in itself, you know, the complementary colours, how they went with one another. Yeah,
That's interesting
beautiful.
because I didn't choose the colors. I just reached in and grabbed one.
Well, looking at the colours, I
Yeah,
would suggest that Glastonbury had a far deeper impact on you than what you give credit for.
I would agree that it did. Yes. Yes. Glastonbury had a very deep impact on me. It was wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I literally cannot wait until all of this madness is over and I can get back on a plane and get back to the UK and do some more exploring. That's
I would love that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. get together again and go on some more crazy adventures.
I'm certainly up for that. Definitely.
Absolutely. All right. So as I'm looking here, how everything is intertwined, and then things about like, how do we get through it? Like, how do we get through changing things to take better care of ourselves, changing things to make life, I don't know if easier is the right word, but I'm ready for a soft life. I don't want to fight anymore. I'm ready for a soft life. And I feel like I've reached a point in my life and my age where I can expect to have a softer life. But how do we get to that? How do we get to that? How do you get to that?
I would say one of the biggest struggles, as we were saying earlier, we like to plan, we like to push ahead, is letting go of all that and just going, relaxing into life a little bit. And we've all got things to do each and every day, not getting stressed or that anxiety about, say, for example, not washing the dishes, not doing the ironing, not, sending an email, something tedious like that. And just say in your head, it's going to get done. It's going to get done. It may not be done, within that 2-hour window that you gave yourself to do it. But if you just say it's going to get done today, it doesn't matter what time you do it, it will get done. You can tick that off your to-do list, takes the stress and anxiety out of the situation. And then I would say if you can apply that methodology into your life there, where, it's going to get done. I will, meet that deadline. I will get to go to that location. I will get that pay rise. Why am I going to waste my energy stressing about it when I can relax into the situation, trust that my highest good is here to serve me. Everything that comes into my life is to serve me for my highest good, and just go with that energy. And then you won't have that anxiety. You won't have those white hairs and that maybe anchoring for chocolate and caffeine and all of those things to keep you going. You just take that stress out of it. That would be my first port of call. But obviously, to arrive at that stage, you have to assess the thoughts that are happening in your mind.
Yeah.
Because we all have, unfortunately, it's the way that we are wired, that monkey mind where this chitter chatter is going off, and it's random, isn't it?
It is.
And on top of that, I've said many times that every single human being, and animal for that matter, is a transmitter and receiver of energy and information. So not only have we got all of this chitter chatter from ourselves, but we're picking it up from around us. So if we can make life simpler by just assessing what's going off in our own consciousness, and just sort of sifting through it, clearing house, if I can use that term, getting rid of thoughts that are making you feel anxious, that aren't serving you, that are pulling your vibrations down. I would say that is a very important technique to employ, just to create that space in your mind so that then your body can follow suit and relax and slow down when you need to.
I would agree with that. And, I think that the thing that a lot of us don't like to do is to ask for help and allow people to help us, to receive assistance in whatever way. It's like, no, I got it. I'm good. I don't need any help. Well, we want to give help, but we don't want to receive help, right? So that kind of disrupts energy flow if we're not willing to receive as well.
I would agree. And I would say a lot of that is down to maybe programming in our society, that you're perceived of being weak for doing that. You're not standing on your own 2 feet and you're there with your hands out. Well, that's not the case at all. As you've said, it's all about balance. You give so much to so many, and I dare say I do the same, whether that's energy, wisdom, whatever. And, there's only so much that we can do. And if we're not allowing ourselves to receive that kindness, that love and appreciation back, then we're just going to drain ourselves to such a degree that we will be no use to anybody. We'll just be an empty husk of a person.
Right.
And but if I may, I could give an example with what we're referring to, because I'm, like I say, very similar to yourself, where I'm very independent. I'll figure out a way, but it came to my attention just before we met last year in person in the UK. I had a bit of a bizarre medical condition that came up out of the blue from nowhere.
Yeah.
And basically, what had happened was I was taking the old bric-a-brac, old things that I don't need anymore from the house to the local tip, the recycling centre.
Mm-hmm.
And, did all of that. Didn't think anything of it other than, wow, we've got a little bit more space in the home. A week or two later, probably about a week and a half later, I noticed I'd got this like pimple on my stomach. And I thought, that's unusual. Okay, that's unusual. Didn't think anything of it, just carried on. I did some work in Glastonbury over a weekend, stayed down there. And upon driving back, I felt a little bit woozy and a little bit, but I put it down to the fact that I've been working with spirit, working with energy. I've been working all week and driving. I thought I was a little bit tired. On coming back, my daughters were in the house and they said, Dad, have you seen the state of your top that you're wearing? I was like, why? What's wrong with it? And anyway, I looked down and it was all green where my stomach was. And so basically, it was an abscess that had formed from this pimple on my stomach. It'd gone to the size of a boiled egg. Ooh. And it was seeping, but it wasn't changing in the size of it. So my typical response was, okay, I'm just going to go to bed. I'm going to go have a lie down for a few hours. I'll be all right after that. My girls insisted, no, Dad, we're taking you to the as you would call it, the emergency room right here, right now. So they drove me there directly after me driving 4.5 hours to get home. So there was no rest.
Yeah.
And then having to wait in the emergency room. Anyway, my point of this story is I got admitted into hospital. They said it was, what was it called? It was like an infected bite that had swollen up and they couldn't lance it to get the infection out. And so they admitted me into hospital. I had to have an operation for the lump to be surgically removed. And they left an open wound there so that the infection would heal and come out of its own accord. And then it would heal from the inside out, so to speak. Mm-hmm. But we finally get to the point of this story. I'm sure your listeners are quite grateful for this. And the point is that up until that point, I was very gung-ho. No, I'll do it. I'll sort this out. I'm fine. I'm all right. Thank you. Well, I had to surrender throughout that process to healthcare professionals who I may add were absolutely incredible. Nothing was ever too much trouble. They tended to me before the operation, after the operation, encouraged me to get up on my feet and, start helping myself and things like that. Mm-hmm. And then upon being discharged from the hospital, I had to have a community nurse that came round every day to change the dressings, to clear the wound because it was an open wound. And I felt really uncomfortable about that. Somebody coming round to my home and doing that every day. I thought, well, surely I could do this. And they said, no, it's part of what happens. This is what happens. So again, I had to surrender to the entire process and I had to stop working and I had to just say, well, I can't do anything. I've just got to go with it.
Right.
So that's my point. And from that moment on, I would say that was a great lesson. Mm-hmm. And I've kind of got that balance in my life now where if somebody wants to, gift me something or, I'll get this coffee or what, I'm open to that. Whereas, last year, prior to this operation, I would have, argued with them for about an hour. No, you're not. I'll get it.
Uh-huh.
You know, so it's humbled me and made me more appreciative of the process of having that balance in
Yeah.
my life.
Yeah.
Long-winded story. I do apologize, but I
Oh,
had to get it
don't
off my chest.
apologize. Don't apologize because you made the point beautifully. You made the point beautifully because
Thank you.
we do tend to give a lot. And I know we have been joking for at least a couple of years now about sharing a brain cell, you know,
Oh
so
yeah, for sure.
and we are pretty much cut from the same cloth in that way. And so for me to sit back and relax and allow my husband to take care of me has been a very difficult thing for me. A very difficult thing for me. But what it has done is it has prompted deeper healing from other relationships where I couldn't depend on my partner.
Oh wow,
So
that's beautiful.
it has forced me to accept the help, not feel like I'm doing something wrong by accepting the help, and just letting him do what he can do to help me take care of myself. And that has been such a difficult thing because it has brought up all of those old behaviors,
Mm.
all those old relationships, all those old circumstances where it would not have worked out as well with someone else. You know, just wouldn't have. So that has been a really tough one for me, is the receiving the help and letting people give to me, basically, you know.
I
And I
bet.
know we've talked about that before, but go ahead.
I was going to say, I bet with that, it's been a wonderful blessing as well for your husband there to actually feel like he's part of it and he's there being a service for you, and
Right.
it's probably brought you two together a lot more stronger as well as a
It has.
team, which is a beautiful thing in itself there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's almost a gift in strange wrapping paper, as I would describe
Yeah.
situations like this.
Definitely, definitely a gift in strange wrapping paper. And of course, I feel guilty not holding up my end, right? So financially, I'm feeling guilty about that because I'm not able to work as much. I'm just not. So, you know, I am working more from home now. Have more energy. I'm doing more clients and classes from home, but it's still, yeah, it has been one of those things where it's hard to accept the help. And again, some of that has to do with emotional healing, spiritual healing, past healing, you know, healing from the past relationships that I thought I had already done that work. Yeah, guess
It's
what?
interesting, isn't it? You
Yeah,
know, slowing down and having to have this enforced break
right,
has given you that space in your life to actually address these things that maybe, like you say, you didn't realize needed the healing still.
right. After all that therapy, I still needed some healing, apparently.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy. Let's see, what's the next thing? Self-discipline. And I think I had addressed that some, but would you like to address self-discipline and getting through it?
Yes. Well, first of all, one of the most strongest words, one of, not the, is in the English language, is the word no. And using it appropriately
Yeah.
to things that are draining your energy, draining your time, and
Mhm.
also draining your self worth. And when you recognize those patterns in your life, and first of all, it triggers you, you get that anxiety, you
Mhm.
get that frustration building up, and you're like, I didn't say it, I didn't say it. But then when you relax into life and say, well, no, I'm sorry, I can't do that. You don't have to explain yourself. Just the word no in itself is enough. And
Yes.
if people keep pushing and pushing you, then you can then explain why you arrived at that destination of the word no to response to their questioning. So I would say, yeah, having that discipline to implement that into your life, and
Yes.
don't be afraid to use it. You know, there'll be a time when you can say yes and you can go with the flow, but also there is that in contrast where you do have to say no to things. Discipline would be in my recent experience is creating space for yourself.
Yeah.
I do work hard, as you know, but in that week where I'm working 6 days a week, there are pockets of time, maybe an hour here, 45 minutes there. And I think, do you know what? I'm not normally, I would fill that with other things to do. And I say, no, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to sit here and do absolutely nothing for an hour. And I don't feel guilty about doing that because it needs to happen.
Yes.
So discipline is creating space for yourself. We could link that to a spiritual term, sitting in the power, just being with yourself, and just allowing yourself to process what you've done. For instance, last weekend I was doing 2 gigs the night before, and then I had to get up early the day after to travel and do another one in the afternoon. And I remember getting back from that gig feeling a little bit frazzled and not knowing where I was or what was happening. So I just had to kick back for an hour or so and just sort of reminisce on what I just experienced, just to recalibrate, what has happened. Because when I do these shows, it's like, right, we've done this, we've done that, we've done that, next job, next job. And you just need to process it, allow it to flow through you, and then you can just relax into life and go over to the next thing that you need to do. So I would say that is part of the discipline process. If we can take it further by, what are you consuming? What are you eating? What are you drinking? What are you watching? Is that really empowering you, watching a murder mystery on the TV? Or is it, taking your energy away? It's having that discipline there as well, what you allow in and what you don't allow into your life. Obviously, if you can, physical exercise is very important.
Yes.
It sounds crazy, doesn't it, when people say to you, if you ran or walked around the park about 8 times, you'll have more energy. And you're like, really? If I ran around the park 8 times, I would have more energy? Are you crazy?
Yeah.
But actually, it's true because it gets that blood flowing around. Then endorphins kick in. That oxygen is going through the blood system, and you do feel more energized. Your brain is functioning more rather than it being sluggish. You seem to be firing on all cylinders. And so I would say discipline is having some sort of exercise regime into your life. Doesn't matter what that looks like to you, but as long as you're factoring that in, and that is also giving something back to yourself. So discipline can come in many ways, but just a few that I thought I'd share with you.
Yeah, those are all really good. And yeah, no is a complete sentence.
Oh, yes.
I have heard that phrase so many times. No is a complete sentence. And it really is. It really is. And another thing with not allowing people to take my energy, not allowing myself to be in situations where I'm giving up energy and there's no exchange. One of the things that I had heard long time ago was, if you want to be in my life, you have to treat me like you like me.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. That has helped me so much over the years conserve my own energy, or to put my energy where I really wanted to put it, instead of people who were just taking, So yeah, that is kind of a rule, I guess, that I live by, is that if someone wants to be in my life, they have to treat me like they like me. And likewise, I don't want to be in somebody else's life if I don't feel like I can treat them like I like them. You know what I mean? Like, there are just some people we connect with and some people we don't. And if we don't, it's okay not to. And I think that that's something that it took me a long time to learn. Took me a long time to learn that. So, if you're hanging around with people, you got people in your life, whether they're family or not, and they're not treating you well, take a step back. Take a step back. Hard thing to do, and it takes a lot of self-discipline, but sometimes it needs to in order to heal. and to move forward with your life in a happy way, or at least a
In
calm way.
in many respects, that ties into a thought that I've been having over the last few days about that we are all vibrating on different frequencies. And
Hmm.
because of that, we are all living in our own dimensions.
Yes.
And sometimes those dimensions overlap with family and friends, and we can have that interaction with them, but they don't have a permanency, if that's the right term,
Right.
in our own little dimension, in our own little bubble. And
Yeah.
yet we can all exist alongside each other very happily, learning our lessons. And
Hmm.
with what you've just said there, it's just kind of put that thought back in my mind.
Right.
So in many respects, we're pulling back to our own dimension, aren't we? And we're allowing those other people to exist in theirs, and
Yes.
for us to exist in harmonic resonance by allowing that space to form between the parties involved.
Exactly. Exactly. It just makes life so much more harmonious. I like that word, harmonious. That's a good one. Uh, so, what about, well, like you and I both had health issues.
Mm,
Learning about those health issues, researching about what we're dealing with, whether that's physical health, whether that's how to manage our finances better, whether that's emotional, mental, spiritual health, learning about those things, it can be very empowering, whether we're watching YouTube videos or reading or talking to someone who knows about it. I feel like if we educate ourselves, we can make our lives better.
mm.
So just
I
thought
would
I'd
say so.
toss that out. Yeah.
I would say, first of all, it's getting beyond the triggering process, because
Yes.
initially, when we see those things up, I mean, people talk about, there's a popular search engine. Let's go and ask Dr. I won't say the word, but you know what I'm
Right.
on about. With
Yeah.
any ailment, I've got a sniffy nose. Let's ask Doctor. And we read some of the remarks on there and the advice and stuff, and it can be really, really frightening and triggering.
Yes.
And our imagination creates all manner of symptoms that weren't there initially. But
Hmm.
we think, well, I feel a little bit of this or a little bit of that. But it's same as you say for finances or anything of that nature. Getting beyond those trigger points
Yes.
initially and thinking differently in your mind and thinking, well, I've gone through something similar to that before, and I'm still here to tell the tale. So, what harm is it for me to pursue this information further and find out more
Right.
and have that quest for knowledge as your sort of empowering driver, if that makes sense?
Does.
And then at that stage, you can then do the research. There'll be some of the research where you think, no, I can't do that. No. And again, you're putting yourself down because, you can do a lot of this uh, guidance that's offered to you.
Hmm.
Uh, when you start to value yourself a little bit more and say, well, actually, I could do that if I wanted to. Actually, I have got those skill sets. Or actually, do you know what? Like I say, I've been through something similar before. Why can't I get through this?
Right.
It's just reframing thoughts in your brain, I think, to start with, and then just creating that space in your mind to be open to new avenues to pursue,
Hmm.
new information, and just simply allowing that to land with you, to resonate with you differently. Because after
Right.
all, we're all changing in every single moment of every single day. So what once resonated with you a year ago may not land with you anymore. So
Right.
just accepting that information, creating that space, and following that thirst for knowledge, I think. Yeah. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
think
I would
that's
say
really
it's.
important. I think it's important to educate ourselves, but not to be a
Mm,
sponge for every piece of information that comes along, because not all of it's true and not all of it's right. You know, it's
yeah, I would say
using
from what
discernment. Yeah.
what my guide suggested it is to, obviously, with the birth of AI and how people can
Mhm.
manipulate videos, speech, and audios and information now, it's hard to pick out truth from lies. So they suggested read the content, observe the content, but feel the energy behind the content.
Yes.
Then
Yeah,
you will know whether it's sincere or whether it's manipulative in any form.
I
So
agree.
it's very important we tap into those true organic BS tools that we're all born with, I would say.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, use discernment, but get informed, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, I'm just kind of going down my list here because I bothered to make a list. So, speaking of lists, do you have a to-do list every day? Is it up here or is it something you write down or put in your phone?
It is mainly up here, but if
Okay.
there's a lot happening in my life at the same time, then I will reach for the phone. I'll make a notes section in my phone.
Hmm.
Um, and again, I won't be anxious about it as long as I say to myself, well, I've got that to do today. Doesn't matter what time it gets done, but as long as it gets done, I'll
Okay.
be
Yeah.
happy and I'll celebrate. And I think it's very important that we should all have mini victories. That we've done these things that we set out to do, and we've completed that day, and we've got through it, and we're smiling. We're here to tell the tale, and then tomorrow's a different day, isn't it? We
Yes.
capitalize on the energy, that positivity we've created, and take it forward into the next day. So, yeah, to answer your question, mainly in the mind, but when I'm overwhelmed, I take it to the phone notes.
I love that. And I love what you brought up about celebrating because last year when we completed our filming and we celebrated, we are that shared brain cell just took over and it ended up being a business meeting instead of a celebration.
Still working. We didn't
Yeah,
rest,
we're
did we? It was
still
all.
working. I'm still laughing at myself about that because we just jumped right back in and went, okay, we have all this stuff that we did. How are we going to organize this? How are we going to do this? And it was still very enjoyable, but it was just
Yeah,
it was funny to me that that's the way that we
we
celebrated.
relaxed as well by
Exactly.
working.
We relaxed by working more. Yeah. But it kind of cracks me up when I think about it because, yeah, I don't think that either one of us knew how to relax in that moment. We'd been going days on end, without a break and went, okay.
Or sleep.
Or very little sleep. Yes, exactly.
Do you know, I watched some of
Exactly.
the content over the weekend, actually, one of the
You did.
episodes,
Okay.
and it cracked me up the fact, because we were living from hand to mouth for, was it 10 days?
Yeah.
We weren't eating the best foods that were made available to us. And I looked and I was like, what the hell was I thinking? I've got a face full of spots where I hadn't ate any vegetables or fruit all week. And I'd got these spots here. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
It made me laugh.
Yeah. I know I've watched them too, and it makes me laugh. It's like, oh yeah, witchy hair. Awesome. That looks great. So with me, I actually, and I don't do it every day, but I feel better when I do. So before I go to bed at night, I sit down with a piece of paper, and at the top of the paper, I write, what I do today propels my life and my business forward.
Oh,
And then I think
intentions.
about what am I intending to get done tomorrow? What is it that I want to do that's going to make my life feel full, joyful, complete, productive? What are the things that I want to do? And I literally write down shower because
You need that
sometimes
reminder.
sometimes I do because I get so entrenched in what I'm doing, I don't even think about it. I just dive in and I don't take the time to balance my life. And if there's anything that I have learned from this health crisis, it's that I need to balance my life. I need to have balance in my life. So that's why I put life and business, because they both need attention. And I think that it's so important for me specifically, because I'm not going to preach this to anybody else. You know, everybody makes their own choices. But for me specifically, it's important to remember that my life is as important as my business. And for many years, I didn't treat it that way. I treated my business as more important than my life. So for me, it's important to write it down that way. And that is one of the practical steps that I take to take care of myself and to take care of my family, my home. You know, if it's a laundry day, I will literally write laundry on the list so that I remember to do it. And then I look at the list several times a day because I forget what's on it. So I look at the list several times a day. Oh, yeah, I need to go switch laundry. I need to get that out of the washer so it doesn't start smelling funky, you know?
Yeah, we've all done it.
I know
Don't
we
feel
have.
guilty.
Oh, no, we've all done it. Everybody I know has done it. Yeah, exactly. But for me, making that plan for the next day, it helps me sleep at night because then I'm not thinking about all the things that I have to remember because I wrote them down. So I don't have to do that. I can rest at night. And I think for me, making that plan has been so incredibly helpful to be able to do that. I mean, if we're talking about practical tips, that's like my number one practical tip. Write it down the night before so you can sleep and not have to try to remember that while you're sleeping. So just tossing that out there.
Good advice. I like that.
And then the big one. Oh, this is where I fall down every single time. Follow through.
You haven't, have you? Not live on air? I hope you haven't anyway.
Following through on my plan, you know, like following through.
Thank you for that clarification. Yes. I'm glad you did.
Sometimes I worry about you, Glenn.
You and everybody else. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, follow through is something that I struggle with sometimes. Like and again, that comes back to discipline and focusing on, you know, you said you were going to do this, do it. But then again, I'm the kind of person where if I say I'm going to be there on July 30th at 4 p.m., you better be expecting me on July 40th at 4 p.m. because I will be rolling up at 3:59, you know? So with that kind of thing, I'm really good with follow through, but sometimes the tasks that I don't particularly like doing, the admin, the marketing, that kind of stuff. I know, right? It's like, it's the stuff we have to do so we get to do what we want to do.
Exactly.
But sometimes I don't follow through on the stuff I have to do. And for me, that is a big one, is to discipline myself to follow through. So I'm outing myself to the world so that I can be accountable.
I like it. Yeah, I'm sure there's many other creatives and intuitives that feel the same way. But, you know, without doing that, we wouldn't be able, as you say, to do what we love to do the most.
Right. So where is your biggest struggle in getting through it to get to it?
As you know, I'm dyslexic, so anything that involves admin, facts, figures, that is a mental and emotional drain, I tend to leave that right into the wire. So similar to yourself, I do end up doing it, but the frustrating thing is I'll probably dedicate a whole entire day or an afternoon just for that task. And it's like, oh, will this ever end?
Yeah.
Whereas if I set aside time every month or something to do it, then it wouldn't be as bad. But because I'm putting it off, probably like yourself. But I always get a follow through, so to speak.
Eventually.
And I get it done, eventually. And you've just reminded me, actually, it's come that time of year where I need to really address these things again in my life. So I've got to roll up my sleeves and dedicate an entire afternoon to that very process. But I always get it done. And I would say something probably like yourself that I'm known for is reliability. So if I say I'm going to do something, I will be there. And like yourself, I'll be there early as
Yeah.
well, and a bit ready and rearing to go. Yeah, so I've always been that way, and I think that's part of my upbringing. Maybe I used to work when I was I 12 years old? I worked as a milk boy, so I'd have to get up at like 3 or 3:30 in the morning to go and deliver milk before I went to school.
Mm-hmm.
And so the guy was relying upon me to be there to help him out. And obviously, I had to go to school at the same time. So I think that's where it was sort of like instilled within me from a young age. And it's kind of followed through. If I don't like meet the targets or follow through, as you put it, then there's a part of me that feels as though they've let somebody down, or they've, you know, haven't lived to my best in that day, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say
I
like
feel that way
yourself.
too.
Hmm. So
Yeah.
it's like
I
an
feel,
obligation, isn't it? No, I have to do it. I said I would, and I will.
yeah.
Hmm.
Wow. This has
Unless I
been
say no.
really, unless I say no. Yeah.
Yeah.
No is a complete sentence.
It is.
All right. Well, now it's time to say yes. Tell us what you're up to. What do you got
Oh.
coming up?
Oh, for me, well, I'm kind of shooting with the breeze, going with the flow a little bit more this year, because of last year and the events of last year. Having said that, I am still working really, really hard with 3 jobs. So for me, it's just working hard with that. There's no events as such other than the gigs that I'm doing, because there's a bit of a clash where the other paranormal events land on the same day.
Yeah.
And so this moment in time, I have to be logical and get food on the table rather than going without food on the table or paying the bills.
Right.
And so I've had to get realistic, and it pains me to say that, but I've had to do it. And so I've had to say no to various events that I'd usually say, yes, 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 I'll be there. But it feels bad not being there. But what I'm up to is lots more gigs. Something I'm looking forward to in the end of this month of May is I'm going away with Becky,
Oh,
the
nice.
girlfriend there, and we're off to Anglesey in Wales, the Isle of Anglesey, and it's somewhere where I've said I wanted to go for years, but I've never have gone there. So en route to that location, we're going to have a bit of a whistle stop tour road trip, going to some of the key destinations in Wales, maybe having 30 minutes at that one, driving to the next one until we make our destination in Anglesey.
That sounds familiar.
I thought it would. So it's a tight schedule, as you know me. I'm very much like that. So I'm looking forward to that. So expect lots of photographs and stuff and content online related to that. But yeah, apparently there's a place called, is it Puffin Island, where they have the birds, the puffin birds, and they breed on there. So if we get the opportunity to go there and have a look round, that would be amazing, just to watch that nature unfold on the island.
Nice.
But apparently the island itself has a very strong druid connection, and there's also small stone circles and henges and things of that nature. So if I can fit that all into a very tight weekend, then I'm certainly going to try my best. So I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome.
That's what I have. What about your good self? What are you up to?
Well, first of all, you haven't told people like when and how to make an appointment with you for a reading, or how to get your books, or how to get your albums, or, you haven't given us any information on that. So go.
Oh, bless your heart. Okay. Well, as Kristina says, I do teach spiritual development. So if you're wanting to enhance your spiritual gifts and abilities from whatever level you are at, because I take you right up to trance mediumship as well, where you allow spirits to communicate directly through you as a vessel, then you can contact me on my website or on my Facebook page, which is www.glenboddicespiritualmedium.com. or you can find me on all of the social media platforms, just Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium. You can also book in directly with me for one-to-one private readings on all of my social media platforms. Head over to the biog, and then there's a link in there. Just click on that link and you can book in directly, see my availability and do that there. There's also books available that I want to use the term co-authored with Spirit, because a lot of it is channeled forward. And so there's 3 books available. There's also albums on there. There's sound healing, meditations guided by myself. There's also video classes, spiritual development video classes, bite-sized sessions where you can learn and grow at your own pace in the leisure of your own home. And those videos are for you to keep once you've purchased them, and you can do the tasks that are required of you in each and every one of those. And yeah, that's proving to be quite popular and has been for quite some time. There's lots of free content on the website, so if you just want to have a good nosy round, you can go and listen to the radio show that Kristina is a co-host on, and that is called From Beyond with Glenn Boddice. Every episode is archived on my website. So just basically head over there or find me on all social media platforms if you want to do so. Thanks, Kristina.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Good. I was going to bring up your radio show. All right, my turn. Let's see. You can make an appointment with me through my website, KristinaBloom.com, or you can message me on Facebook Messenger, probably through Instagram. I'm not real sure how to get messages through Instagram, but there is that's available, and my appointments are from home, so online or over the phone if you live in the States. And so that's where I do my readings, and I do a lot of different readings. It's not just mediumship. So I do past life, I do Akashic records, spirit guides, a whole bunch of different kinds of things. So I'm sure I have something that appeals to everyone. Coming up on May 16th, this coming Saturday, I will be at the Quality Inn in Rhinelander, Wisconsin for the Metapara Pro Psychic and Wellness Fair. Oops, I just jumped ahead 2 months. Whoa. Gotta go back. On the 27th, I'm looking at the wrong month. On the 27th, we will have a psychic and mediumship message circle online. So there's a Facebook event up for that. Just go to my profile, Kristina L. Bloom, and look that up. So that is going to be on there. Next week, my guest is going to be Mary Lynn Bast. So you will want to check in with that for this show, the ParaMystic podcast. And June 6th, I will be at the Bearded Brothers Brawl. Ooh, I know. Sounds wicked, doesn't it? Yeah. It is a children's charity, actually. It's going to be a children's charity at Broadhead Manor. And the following weekend, June 13th, I will be at Paranormal Chicago Paracon. So those are some things that I have coming up. There will be more classes scheduled, but this is the way I do classes. Everybody who comes to the next class gets to choose the topic as a group for the following class. So the group for the group past life regression chose to have a message circle next time. So that's what we're doing. There we go. That leads me right up to my annual camping trip. So lots of fun stuff. Yeah. Lots of fun stuff. Glenn,
Wow. Where do you fit all of that in? Honestly, that is incredible.
It's literally half of what I used to do. Like literally half. Like I was out there every weekend. Now it's like 2 weekends a month. So
wow.
Yeah.
Still awesome.
And I'm still loving it. So taking time for myself in between. I really want to thank you all so much for hanging in there with us for these extra 6 minutes. And Glenn, as always, an amazing co-host. Thank you for your time, your energy, and your spirit in coming here, and your wisdom and having this incredible conversation with me today. Thank you,
Kristina.
We'll see you next week.